Hello, my name is Lucas. This is a bit of lit. It is day 16 of Vlogmas, and it is time to finally continue Lord of the Rings. This is the first half of Book 3, or Volume 3, The Return of the King, and that is The War of the Ring, wherein we will follow Gandalf and Pippin and their adventures, so to speak, in Gondor, ruled by Denethor at the moment. He is the steward, who is the father of Boromir and Faramir, both of whom have come into contact with Frodo. And then, of course, there is the Rohirrim with Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli, and Legolas and Gimli and Aragorn, they all take their own way to Path of the Dead, and, you know, only the true king of Gondor can go there, and he recruits an army. Pippin and Gandalf are there dealing with Denethor, who has lost his mind and has given up on this war. Denethor is my favorite character in Lord of the Rings. I'll get into it. He gets a bad rap from the movies, definitely. There's some nuance to him, much like I think there is nuance to all the characters. I don't think any of the characters are flat, which is something that is leveled at Lord of the Rings, and I think that's simply untrue for most of the characters, anyway. Pippin sort of acts as a page, or whatever you want to call it, for the steward for Denethor, and he's there a lot with Denethor, and there's going to be a huge siege battle coming up because Sauron has his eyes focused on Gondor and wants to take it out, and ultimately he fails, of course, but before that can happen, you know, a little parting shot kind of thing is sent out. A group of his troops sent out. Faramir has to lead the cause. And we have these great back and forths with father and son. And you really get to understand Faramir as a character. He is he is not loved. Not properly, at least. You know, some characters try to let Faramir know that his father did love him, and it's just, by the way he has been treating him, no, he does not. He definitely, you know, he was the second son. And my friend calls him a fail son. I don't think he's a fail son. I think he's got a lot on his mind, being the second son, knowing Boromir is gone, knowing his father treats him a certain way, and knowing that Gondor is basically what's keeping Middle-earth from falling apart without a lot of help. So I don't think he's really a fail son, but maybe he's a bit too loyal to his own father. Anyway, they have this great conversation, and I mean, it's just so tragic. Let's see, where can I start? Okay. Let's just start. The next day came with a morning like a brown dusk, and the hearts of men lifted for a while by the return of Faramir sank low again. The winged shadows were not seen again that day, yet ever and anon, high above the city, a faint cry would come, and many who heard it would stand stricken with a passing dread, while the less stout-hearted quailed and wept, and how Faramir was gone again. They give him no rest, some murmured. The Lord drives his son too hard, and now he must do the duty of two for himself and for the one that will not return. And ever men looked northward, asking, where are the riders of Rohan? This is what I'm talking about, okay? This is why I like Faramir. I think he's a great character. I think Boromir's a great character. And I think Denethor is the best. They've got so much riding on them. And Faramir now has the weight of being the only son left. And he's not been loved because his father has lost his mind. And maybe even before that. In truth, Faramir did not go by his own choosing, but the lord of the city was master of his council, and he was in no mood that day to bow to others. Early in the morning the council had been summoned. There all the captains judged that because of the threat in the south, their force was too weak to make any stroke of war on their own part, unless perchance the riders of Rohan yet should come. Meanwhile they must man the walls and wait. Yet, said Denethor, we should not lightly abandon the outer defenses. The Vlogmas made with so great a labor, and the enemy must pay dearly for the crossing of the river. That he cannot do in force to assail the city, either north of Caer Andros because of the marshes, or southwards toward Lebanon because of the breadth of the river that needs many boats. It is at Osgiliath that he will put his weight, as before when Boromir denied him the passage. That was but a trial, said Faramir. Today we may make the enemy pay 10 times our loss at the passage, and yet rue the exchange, for he cannot afford to lose a host better than we to lose a company. And the retreat, for he can afford to lose a host better than we to lose a company, and the retreat of those that we put out far afield will be perilous if he wins across in force. Okay, so they're coming in droves. They've got huge armies, and Gondor needs help from Rohan. Okay, they can't afford to lose, man. But Denethor is saying, he's stuck in his ways. And what of Caer Andros, said the prince? That too must be held if Osgiliath is defended. Let us not forget the danger on our left. The Rohirrim may come, and they may not. But Faramir has told us of great strength drawing ever to the Black Gate. More than one host may issue from it, and strike for more than one passage. Much must be risked in war, said Denethor. Caer Andros is manned, and no more can be sent so far, but I will not yield the river and the Pelennor unfought, not if there is a captain here who has still the courage to do his lord's will. Then all were silent, but at length Faramir said, I do not oppose your will, sire. Since you are robbed of Boromir, I will go and do what I can in his stead, if you command it. I do so, said Denethor. Then farewell, said Faramir. But if I should return, think better of me. That depends on the manner of your return, said Denethor. And you know what, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if he means I will think more of you if you are dead, or I will think more of you if you have managed to survive this suicidal mission, okay? Because Denethor is off his rocker, because he has been using the Palantir. Faramir comes back, and it seems that he is dead. He is not, but it seems that he is dead. And so a funeral pyre is set up. And in this time, Denethor disappears for a while, comes back, and he seems completely distraught because he's seen images in the Palantir, because guess who has been communicating with him through a Palantir? It is... Okay, sorry about that. I got a little bit lost where I was in trying to find it because I forgot to write a little note in my Kindle that would let me know, oh, this is where I want to quote. I usually say quote this in the video so that I know that I will read it. This is the part that I was trying to read where we find out about Denethor and why he's gone crazy after the siege and everything. But Gandalf's face was grave and sad, and bidding Beregond and Pippin to take Faramir into the houses of healing, he went up on to the walls nearby, and there, like a figure graven in white, he stood in the new sun and looked out, and he beheld with that sight that was given to him all that had befallen. And when Eomer rode out from the forefront of his battle and stood beside those who lay upon the field, he sighed, and he cast his cloak about him and again, and went from the walls. And Beregond and Pippin found him standing in thought before the door of the houses when they came out. They looked at him, and for a while he was silent. At last he spoke. "My friends," he said, "and all you people of this city and of the western lands, things of great sorrow and renown have come to pass. Shall we weep or be glad? Beyond hope the captain of our foes has been destroyed, and you have heard the echo of his last despair, but he has not gone without woe and bitter loss, and that I might have averted but for the madness of Denethor. So long has the reach of our enemy become, alas, but now I perceive how his will was able to enter the very heart of the city. Though the stewards deemed that it was a secret kept only by themselves, long ago I guessed that here in the White Tower, one at least of the 7 seeing stones was preserved. In the days of his wisdom, Denethor would not presume to use it to challenge Sauron, knowing the limits of his own strength. But his wisdom failed, and I fear that as the peril of his realm grew, he looked in the stone and was deceived. Far too often, I guess, since Boromir departed. He was too great to be subdued to the will of the dark power. He saw, nonetheless, only those things which that power permitted him to see. The knowledge which he obtained was doubtless often of service to him. Yet the vision of the great might of Mordor was shown to him fed the despair of his heart until it overthrew his mind. And that's what I'm about, okay? This man has been doing his best, and he lost his mind for it. I really love that there's sort of an explanation about what the Palantirs are, that they're the seeing stones, the 7 seeing stones. They, again and again, when you're in Gondor, they mention the 7 stones and the white tree, which are all strong images of Gondor and this city that they're in. And it's just an incredible world-building moment. Anyway, really cool. So the last part I want to talk about is what they decide to do after all of this, okay? Because in the last debate, they have a choice. Let it all be for nothing, or fight. Because they've had a huge war, and countless have been lost. But there's one more battle that they need, and that is the most important battle, and that is the one Frodo has to take himself to destroy the ring in the fires of Mount Doom. The only way to do that is to distract Sauron. And Gandalf and Aragorn, being the leaders that they are giving this, talking with everybody. And Gandalf just lays it out flat for them. His doubt will be growing, even as we speak here. His eye is now straining towards us, blind almost to all else that is moving. So we must keep it. Therein lies all our hope. This, then, is my counsel. We have not the ring. In wisdom or great folly it has been sent away to be destroyed, lest it destroy us. Without it we cannot by force defeat his force, but we must at all costs keep his eye from his true peril. We cannot achieve victory by arms, but by arms we can give the ring-bearer his only chance, frail though it be. As Aragorn has begun, so we must go on. We must push Sauron to his last throw. We must call out his hidden strength, so that he shall empty his land. We must march out to meet him at once. We must make ourselves the bait, though his jaws should close on us. He will take that bait in hope and in greed, for he will think that in such rashness he sees the pride of the new ring-lord, and he will say, so. He pushes out his neck too soon and too far. Let him come on, and behold, I will have him in a trap from which he cannot escape. there I will crush him, and what he has taken in his insolence shall be mine again forever. We must walk open-eyed into that trap with courage, but small hope for ourselves, for my lords, it may well prove that we ourselves shall perish utterly in a black battle far from the living lands, so that even if Barad-dûr be thrown down, we shall not live to see a new age. But this I deem is our duty, and better so than to perish none the less, as we surely shall if we sit here and know as we die that no new age shall be. And you know what? This was the moment that Gandalf finally moved me to like his character. The last video, he wasn't in that part of the two towers, but in that video, I did sort of realize his role in all of this, and he's doing it again, making sure things go the way they should to make things go forward. And he gives this incredible, amazing, passionate speech. Oh, I suppose there's other parts that I didn't read. That's okay. Just a little bit before, but I read the most important part, I suppose. And yeah, like at this moment, there's no arguing with that. You know he's right, and of course he ends up being right because that's what they do, and everybody wins. But like, it's such a powerful speech, and it's exactly what needed to be said and what needed to happen, and it's incredible. So that's all I've got to say about the War of the Ring. There's some other cool parts. Let me know what you enjoy about this section. My favorite parts are Denethor and Gandalf's speech, personally. Beregond is actually a pretty interesting character too. I really like him, and you know, when he's with Pippin and just being around in Minas Tirith, which I couldn't remember the name of the city before, but now it comes to me. But yeah, really incredible. I'm looking forward to the final part.